Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. All of us here that pay attention to LSU week over week realized really early, mid-October, that we were watching something special with Jayden Daniels. I think the concern was focused all on the defense. You're not getting stops. You got Florida State going up and down the field. You got Ole Miss going up and down the field. You got Missouri going up and down the field. You're not getting any stops, and that was the biggest concern early, and you obviously dropped two early games there. But it also became evident in the same time that LSU was keeping up, and Jayden Daniels was playing unbelievable football. He was lights out against Mississippi State. He was fantastic against Ole Miss, excellent against Missouri, even though he was hurt, and it just kind of kept rolling. And so that built to a crescendo, and then the Florida game was absolutely outrageous. And at that point, we all realized that we had a potential Heisman winner on our hands. And as I'm preparing for the show daily and thinking about what's to come, I started thinking to myself, I don't know that the entire country quite knows what Jayden Daniels is doing in Baton Rouge. Yes, you can turn on SportsCenter. You can see him bust a 75-yard run against Florida and then bust another 55-yard run and go for 700 yards of offense. And you can see the highlights. But honestly, what might be more impressive than that is how consistent he is on every play. Does not turn the ball over, does not force the ball into coverage when it's not there, hits the deep throws when they're available, gets LSU in front of the change with accurate and decisive short passing, gets first downs with his feet when it's 3rd and 6. He almost never made a mistake. It was incredible to watch, and all of us were watching and realized it. But as I was thinking about that into November, I was going, this is how the calendar kind of works. All the national folks and the NFL scouts are grinding on their season, on the NFL season, during November, December, January. But once that comes to an end and the player personnel department decide what they're doing and they start watching tape for the draft, and the ESPN analysts and the NFL.com analysts and the Pro Football Focus analysts and all those guys start to watch the entirety of the tape on Jayden Daniels, I think they're going to realize it was better than they thought. Because throwing a 7-yard pass on 3rd and 2 doesn't make SportsCenter. You'd have to go back and watch the entire game to catch that. We're watching. We saw it. Taking off and getting 11 yards on 1st and 10 and outrunning the defensive end and the outside linebacker and beating the corner to the sticks. We saw it. They didn't. They're starting to see it now. And Dan Orlovsky, who did some LSU games this year, so certainly was aware of what Jayden Daniels was doing, had this to say on Get Up earlier this week, and I'm not surprised by this at all.
I thought that Caleb Williams was a lock at number 1 because I thought Drake Maye would be the guy. I was wrong in that. Jayden Daniels should be the guy. If I were the Chicago Bears right now, I would take Jayden Daniels out of LSU. That is not a knock on Caleb Williams. That is a plus in Jayden Daniels. I think, number 1, when you watch all these guys play, the best thrower, the best guy against man coverage, ball placement-wise, is Jayden Daniels. Number 2, when we're talking about explosive play, like guys who have to throw the ball downfield, what does it look like? Jayden Daniels throws the ball best downfield. And then number 3, who's got the best pocket piece? When I say piece, it's P-E-A-C-E. All these guys are athletic. It's no longer like this plus. Every one of these guys has that attribute. The patience and the peace within the pocket, he's the best at. Candidly, I think when it comes to what guy had the best game, none of these guys' games compared to Jayden Daniels against Florida. If you just watch that player versus the University of Florida, you would go, that's the best player in college football, and he's going to be the guy that transfers the best into the NFL. Caleb Williams is fantastic. I think Jayden Daniels is better.
The tape from this year, and keep in mind, I'm calling myself out here because I did not watch every play Caleb Williams made, just like people weren't watching every time Jayden Daniels did anything here when we were. So I'm admitting my bias and my lack of the entirety of the story. But I can sit here and say with full confidence, Jayden Daniels played significantly better than Caleb Williams this year. Now, it's a different sport. I talked about this earlier this week when you get to the top level. Tim Tebow was awesome and productive in college too and couldn't play in the NFL. I understand. It's not the same. And there are some physical attributes, arm strength, size, where Drake Maye and Caleb Williams may trump Jayden Daniels. But if you're looking at purely operating an offense at the college level, it's not really a discussion in my mind. And it would not surprise me if the Bears or someone went up and got Jayden Daniels. If you asked me to bet $5 today, I would bet Caleb Williams is the first pick. And I think that's a fine pick. I think he's going to be a really, really good player. He did not have quite the supporting cast around him that Jayden Daniels did, although it was very good. But Jayden Daniels was way better than Drake Maye this year and better than Caleb Williams this year. It is inarguable. The question is there an NFL team out there that believes that he's a better NFL quarterback and they need to go get him? We'll see. Dominic Foxworth, another national analyst for ESPN, was talking about what the Bears need to do, and he brought up another LSU product and kind of what decision-making processes need to happen at the top of the draft.
Much pressure is on this decision for Ryan Poles and how it could make or break his career is an important one. And that means they have to go through this process and consider all the options and who's the best quarterback. I think if we look around the league now at the top quarterbacks in the league, Joe Burrow comes to mind as the only one that I can think of that was a number 1 overall pick. So while we all go into this draft process and we all are so sure, consensus, this is the guy, you can't pass on this guy, Ryan Poles kind of has to put that out of his mind and not necessarily let the momentum decide what he should do, but make the best decision, because at the end of the day, his job, frankly, as we can distill this down to this one decision, his job and his future as an executive in the NFL could be riding on who he selects or what he decides to do with this number 1 overall pick.
That's a great point by Foxworth, and not one that I had really considered. I do remember when the Saints were going to be in the market for a quarterback, going back and looking at every starter in the NFL and where they came from. The majority of them are first-round picks, but not necessarily first overall picks. Kyler is a first overall pick. He's not a great player. Baker Mayfield was a first overall pick. He's not a great player. I mean, Mahomes, not a first overall pick. Josh Allen, not a first overall pick. Lamar Jackson, not a first overall pick. Josh Allen, not a first overall pick. Jalen Hurts, not a first overall pick. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Jared Goff was decent. He's made a couple of Pro Bowls.
Yeah, he has.
The last really good one was Andrew Luck in 2012, I think.
Yeah, and Burrow, which he mentioned. So it's interesting, and certainly not a black mark against Jayden Daniels if you're not the first pick in the draft. I think ultimately there's a lot of pieces that go into what makes or breaks a quarterback. They're the most important piece in their work ethic and talent and ability to adapt to the game, but you've also got organization, supporting cast, coaching, and all that kind of goes into it. But it's interesting that the first pick, not always a slam dunk. And, I think there's a lot of people with a lot of confidence in Caleb Williams, a lot of people with a lot of confidence in Jayden Daniels, and I think there's probably a lot of people with a lot of confidence in Drake Maye as well, but don't have to be the number 1 guy. I just think, and I'm with Orlovsky, if you watch that tape, yeah, Caleb Williams makes more sidearm throws, and he's got a bigger arm than Jayden Daniels. But if you want to talk about who was better last year, spread the field, get the snap out of the shotgun, read the defense, decisively make the throw accurately, there was one guy that was better than everybody else at it, and he's got the hardware, he's got the trophy. Now, Caleb Williams got it the year before. I got it. But I think there's a real decision to be made, and I've got a couple of buddies with long shot picks on Jayden Daniels to be the first pick in the draft. I don't think that discussion is over, because I don't think Dan Orlovsky is completely out on an island with this thought. Watch the tape. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.